Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our lesson 4 and the last lesson on Chinese culture. And today we'll focus on the story about tea. Before we begin the lesson, there are certain reminders. The story of the day today will have news sharing, and I have attached Jesril's video on news sharing. Please watch his video. Then we'll have base learning, where the teacher will introduce the last concept. It's the story about tea, and then today we'll continue with international curriculum. And in international curriculum for second term, we are focusing on World War II. Now, last, you need to watch all videos that's posted by Mrs. Desai, which is about students' good sharing. Please watch and give good comments to your friends. And your homework for this week is you have to research and write 5 facts about World War II and upload your homework in Google Classroom. The story about tea. Now, all of you are very familiar with what tea is, and some of you may be drinking tea as well. Now, in this lesson, we'll find out what is the origin of tea, how tea is produced, the types of tea, and the culture and tea, why tea is so famous in certain cultures. Now, it seems they say that the tea originated about 5,000 years ago in China, and Shannong, he discovered tea as a kind of beverage, that means a drink. And to support this, we have two stories, story 1 and story 2. Let's look at the first story. You see Shannong in the picture here. He's collecting some herbs. Now, he used to collect herbs to cure his patients. In those days, we did not have the Western type of medicine, and old Chinese and old ancient times, people used to use plants, flowers, and some medicinal herbs found in wild places to cure people of their illnesses. Now, once he tasted the toxic herbs, that means before you make it into medicine, you need to try and you have to feel it on yourself how it feels to understand its properties. So when Shennong tested this herb, he tasted it, he felt very dizzy. When he took a rest under a tree, he picked up a few pieces of leaves and chewed them, okay, as a straw. Now, he found that the function of detoxification. What is detoxification? Detoxification means to get rid of your body of any toxins you have inside. So it helps in detoxification as well as it solves the problem of thirst. If you drink tea, they say you don't feel thirsty for a long time. So he took a few pieces of leaves back and called them tea. And then, as you can see in the picture, he boiled a pot of water and unexpectedly, okay, few tea leaves went inside the pot. And of course, when you add tea to the water, it changes color into yellow depending how much tea you add in water. Now, he tasted this liquid, and it was little bitter and little sweet, okay? But after drinking this, he felt really nice. He didn't feel that thirsty. His throat was soother, calmer, and it seems all of a sudden he had lots of energy and he refreshed himself. Now, this is the second story, okay? According to Shannong's experience, now as we know from story 1 that this guy, his name is Shannong, he used to taste hundreds of herbs because that's what he used to do and make medicines for people, okay? And so once he tasted a particular leaf, okay, he thought that, okay, yeah, it has some medicinal values. And he made them into tea. Now, how to make tea? Okay, here we look at all these. Now, you need to plant trees, pick the leaves, okay, the young leaves, and then there is a process of making tea leaves and air. As you can see in the picture that the available tea can be classified into 6 broad types, and that's green, green tea, black tea, oolong tea, yellow, fermented tea, and white tea. We'll look in detail about what green tea is. Like, look at the picture in the bottom left, and all of you are very, very familiar with this kind of water, right? It's like when you add tea leaves and filter it, you get this color. Now, it is without fermentation. Without fermentation means it's a process by which the tea leaves are fermented, in the sense like they lose water, they become dry to become the tea leaves that could be used. And it's a light flavor, as you can see from the color. You can tell that it's little light in color with little bitter taste, and it's largely produced in China, and many Chinese people drink this kind of green tea. And also it's very popular with many other people who like want to detoxify their body or who want to lose weight. Some good examples are Dragonwell, and these are the companies, Green Spiral and Green Blade. Now we'll look at black tea. As you can see, black tea, it's got a very dark color because the color it's from the leaves which are red in color, and this is again with full fermentation. That is again a process of tea making, a step in the process of tea making. Then you have a nice fragrance of maltose, and sometimes these teas are also like, they're added with flavors, so you can taste different flavors to it. Now below you can see some examples of black tea. Now this is oolong tree. Now oolong tea probably it's from a place called Oolong, or here the middle of the leaf is green and the margin is red, so you have that kind of color. And have flowers and fruit flavor. You get it in different flavors, but again it's slightly bitter. Semi-fermentation. Now this is white tea, mild flavor. The leaf is hairy in texture and it's got a mild fermentation. This is yellow, semi-fermentation, yellow leaf, refreshing with sweet fragrance. And this is fermented tea, undergo an open air fermentation, green-brown leaf, and it's got light flavor and rich in antioxidants. Now, the culture and tea. What is the culture behind tea drinking? Now, in the past, many scholars liked tea and they created a lot of poetry about tea, probably because they thought it's detoxifying to the body, or it's a refreshing, it gives you energy, or sometimes it's also very socially connecting when you have those tea breaks and you sit down and kind of have tea. It socially connects you to different people. So here it's associated with a lot of poetry about tea. Now, something's given in Chinese, you need to read it. It's Culture and Tea, how tea is connected to Chinese culture and vice versa. Now, good way to take a rest. What do? Have a cup of tea. When we are tired, drink a cup of tea and take a break is a good way to eliminate fatigue. That means to remove your tiredness. Okay, remember not to drink strong tea, because strong tea, it's got a very strong flavor, and sometimes it may not work for everyone. It'll keep you awake for a long time. Now, we have in Hong Kong, we have a museum of tea where they have many foreigners visit this place, and there are lots of trees. The history of tea is it's a museum, so of course you have the history of tea, how tea started, who found out tea, and what is the process of tea making, and what are the different kinds of tea, and how the quality of tea has improved over time, and how tea is being made and drunk in different parts of the world. Okay, it represents culture and history of different places. So, if you have time, please go and visit the Teaware Museum. Now, in this series, we will also start with international curriculum. Now, for primary 4 students, for the second term, we are talking about World War II. So please click on the link below and watch the video. Let's take some quick facts about war, how World War II started, when World War II started. It started in 1939 and it ended in 1945. Now, the war was fought throughout Europe and the Pacific. It was the deadliest war in all human history, where 70 million people were killed. It was the deadliest war so far. Look at how did it start. To know more about World War II, it's important for us to look at World War One. What happened during World War One? Now, at the end of World War One, Germany, who lost, they lost World War One, and because of that, they were forced to give away some of their like part of the country. Do you see the land with the red boundary? It says given to Poland, given to Denmark, given to France. Now, because Germany lost the war, it had to give away part or piece of its land to its neighboring countries, okay, neighboring allies, and Germany also had to pay a lot of money because they lost the war. Now, because of this, German people began, they grew a hatred, okay, for people like who took their money and who took their land, and they were very desperate to fight another war and get back all what they had lost during World War One. So, what did the Germans do? They lost a lot of their land, a piece of the country in World War One, and also they lost a large amount of money. So they thought, okay, let's go have another world war and maybe we can get back our money and we can get back our land. So they turned to Hitler. Now the picture on your left is Adolf Hitler, and they thought that he's a good leader and let's make him a leader of the Nazi party and he will help us win the war because he was very popular and people really liked Hitler and he was very nationalistic. So that's what they thought. Okay, but Hitler's vision was that of brutal and violent actions. Hitler was not a very good, man in the sense. For him, the idea of war was that he would go to any length to kill people if he has to win. As we all know, when we play games, there are certain rules in a games, right? We cannot go beyond those rules. If we do that, then we are cheating, then it's not a fair game. Likewise, whenever there are wars fought in the world, there are certain rules for the war. You cannot go beyond these rules. You cannot cross the line. And then that's not fair. A good leader will always stick to the rules in a war. But Hitler was not a good leader. They thought he would be a good leader, but then Hitler would go to any length to win the war. When they decided, okay, they wanted to fight other countries, Germany, they asked different countries to join them. So the Germany was led by Hitler's fascist rule, and two other countries joined Germany in fighting World War II. Can you name these two countries? One is Mussolini. Here, the picture on your right, you see is a leader called Mussolini, and he was again a leader in Italy, and he was like fierce like Hitler, and he said he would join Germany in fighting the World War II. And the third leader, that was Hideko Tojo, the Prime Minister of Japan. Now he too joined the likes of Germany and Italy in forming an ally. Now you see here the major players, they are the allies and we have the axis. Now in allies we have USA, Great Britain, France, Soviet Union. These are the key players. And on the other side, the axis, we have Germany, we have Italy, and we have Japan. Germany, we have Hitler. Italy, we have Mussolini. And Japan, we have the ruler from Japan. Now the war begins. Okay, Hitler's army, they try to invade the neighboring countries, okay, who do not wish to fight and allow it. Now there are some countries which are very tiny. They don't have that kind of military. They don't have that kind of weapons to fight the war, and they say, okay, we surrender to you, but we don't want to fight. Okay, so here in Germany, they invaded Poland. Now, France and Great Britain declared war on Germany because they thought that Germany should not have invaded Poland in the first place, because Poland is a small place and it's harmless. They did not do anything to Germany. Why do Germany have to attack Poland? So France and Great Britain, they declared a war on Germany. Look at this picture here. In the picture, you can see Germany, it's huge, and you can see Poland on the right. Now, Germany invaded Poland. Okay, so because of this, France, do you see one in blue here on your left hand side? It's such a huge country. And Great Britain, they thought it's not okay for Germany to invade Poland, and they declared a war on Germany. At this point in World War II, there are three key players: Germany, which attacks Poland, and because of that, France and Great Britain, they declare a war on Germany. Now, the battle continues and Germans keep up their attack, and they attack France because they declared a war on them, and they control northern France, which is closer to Germany. Now, because of this, okay, and after this, they also invade Soviet Union. Okay, they attack Soviet Union. So now, even Soviet Union doesn't want. Soviet Union is forced to join the war, and it joins the Allies. That means who are in the Allies? Great Britain, France, and now Soviet Union. As of now, US is not in the picture in the war. It's in a neutral position. Neutral means I don't favor the war, I'm not against the war. That is called a neutral position where you don't take sides. Okay,
Mr.
when
Vice
something
President,
happens which is called
Mr. Speaker,
Pearl Harbor.
members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. The United States was at peace with that nation, and at the solicitation of Japan, was still in conversation with its government and its emperor, looking toward the maintenance of peace in the Pacific. Indeed, 1 hour after Japanese air squadrons had commenced bombing in the American island of Oahu, the Japanese ambassador to the United States and his colleagues delivered to our Secretary of State a formal reply to a recent American message. And while this reply stated that it seemed useless to continue the existing diplomatic negotiations, it contained no threat or hint of war or of armed attack. It will be recorded that the distance of Hawaii from Japan
Now, this
makes
piece
it
of
obvious
audio
that the attack was
you heard
deliberately
is a very
planned
famous audio.
many
This
days
is the
or
picture of
even
something
weeks
called
ago.
Harbor. This was a time
During the
when
intervening
the
time,
Japanese, they
the
attacked
Japanese
the
government
U.S. Army
has
in Pearl
deliberately
Harbor.
sought
They
to
bombarded
deceive the United
missiles
States
on
by
their
false
naval
statements
crafts,
and
destroyed
expressions
a
of
lot of
hope
military,
for
U.S. military,
continued peace.
and because of this, the U.S. military,
The
they
attack
retaliated,
yesterday
and they did
on the
something
Hawaiian Islands
which is
has
like they
caused severe
bombed
damage
Hiroshima,
to American
Nagasaki,
naval and military forces.
which were nuclear bombs,
I
and
regret
that's the
to tell
first
you that
time the
very
world
many
ever saw
American
the use
lives
of nuclear
have been
bombings
lost.
during wars. As I told you, like after Japan bombarded naval base Pearl Harbor, okay, the United States, they joined the Allies in World War II because as of now, the United States was in a neutral position. It was not against the war, not in favor. But after its naval bases got attacked, they joined the Allies. Okay, and here you see in the picture the Japanese they used machine gun, fire bombs, everything, every weapon to attack planes in harbor. And now this lesson will continue. Before we end, I want you to watch videos and get some information about Pearl Harbor. And your homework for this time is to collect 5 facts, research and collect 5 facts about World War II and upload your homework. See you soon.